comes to smoke and mirrors, Donald Trump truly is the champion of political theater. Bold, bombastic, and yep, big.
We're going to win so big. Thank you very much.
And we're not just talking about his own winning predictions, because what Trump seems to have cornered too is the market on fibs, falsehoods, and outright fabrications, as in pants on fire kind of lies.
We have a rating system, and the pants on fire rating means the statement is inaccurate and also ridiculous.
Angie Holland is the editor of PolitiFact, a nonpartisan fact-checking outlet tracking the truth according to Trump. Sure, Trump is the most fact-checked of all the 2016 candidates, but the group says that's because he puts a whole lot more out there, and a lot of it is simply made up.
We have a president that said 3,000. Now he wants to bring in 250,000 people.
In fact, the Obama administration only committed to letting in 10,000 refugees from Syria.
I watched when the World Trade Center came tumbling down. And I watched in Jersey City, New Jersey, where thousands and thousands of people were cheering.
And there were only a few people spotted cheering after the Twin Towers fell.
He just seems to have a disregard for the facts. About 3/4 of the statements we have rated have either earned mostly false, or pants on fire.
To be sure, Trump is hardly the first politician to manipulate the facts for political gain. But his blasé disregard for the truth is so prolific, fact-checking his statements has become a flourishing feature in mainstream media too, all of which seems to matter not one bit to his core supporters.
I mean, I don't even know what lies you might even be talking about. It really doesn't even matter.
You could check facts all over the place, and one guy's going to check this way, another guy's going to check that way.
In fact, analysts say Trump expertly plays to that core base, mostly white, male, disaffected voters who don't trust the very establishments that continue to challenge Trump.
The primary audience are those angry white old guys.
Warren Kinsella is a political consultant.
He tells them the truth that they want to believe in, whatever it is, that all Muslims are terrorists or what have you. And as a consequence, he makes them feel validated.
You got to vote tomorrow, everybody.
Right on. You're in.
But real power, as in winning an election, relies on broad support, says Kinsella.
Like he's like a car crash on the highway. There's no question, when there's a car crash on the highway, all of us, even though we don't like car crashes, we slow down to take a look. That's Donald Trump. But that doesn't mean we want more car crashes. That just means we're looking.
It will be months before that decisive vote. And truth be told, or not, until then, Trump certainly knows how to keep people looking. Joanna Brumiliotis, CBC News, Toronto.
One of the things people love about you is they believe you tell it like it is.
Says it like it is. He speaks the truth.
It's about time we have a man like Trump in here. They ain't afraid to tell it like it is, man.
We like him. He tells it like it is.
He says what he means. I honestly believe he's telling the truth.
Of Libya? I never discussed that subject. I was in favor of Libya. We would be so much better off if Gaddafi were in charge right now.
When the World Trade Center came tumbling down, and I watched in Jersey City, New Jersey, where thousands and thousands of people were cheering. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists. Putin wants to go in, and I got to know him very well because we were both on 60 Minutes. We were stablemates. Mexico doesn't want people. They're forcing them into our country. I predicted Osama bin Laden. Look what Trump predicted Osama bin Laden.
Whites killed by blacks is 15%, yet you tweeted it was 81%.
All it was is a retweet. It wasn't from me.
This plan, it'll simplify the tax code. It'll grow the American economy at a level that it hasn't seen for decades.
I can't believe what our country is doing. Gaddafi in Libya is killing thousands of people. Nobody knows how bad it is. And we're sitting around, we have soldiers all over the Middle East, and we're not bringing them in to stop this horrible carnage. Now, we should go in, we should stop this guy, which would be very easy and very quick.
We like him. He tells it like it is.
You had talked a little bit about Marco Rubio. I think you called him Mark Zuckerberg's personal senator because he was in favor of the H-1B.
I never said that. I never said that.
So this was an erroneous article the whole way around?
He's got another gentleman in Florida who happens to be a very nice guy, but not...
My apologies. I'm sorry.
Really, somebody's really doing some bad facts.
Since I've been mentioned, can I...
His father was with Lee Harvey Oswald prior to Oswald's being, shot. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. What is this, right prior to his being shot? And nobody even brings it up. I mean, they don't even talk about that. That was reported, and nobody talks about it. But I think it's horrible. I think it's absolutely horrible.
Trump cited a bizarre and completely uncorroborated report, and I use the term report loosely, in the National Enquirer, the supermarket tabloid. The National Enquirer, which has endorsed Trump and is published by a friend of Trump's, has been launching smear after smear against Cruz and his family. This story shows a photograph from August 1963 of a man standing with soon-to-be John F. Kennedy assassin Lee Harvey Oswald, handing out pro-Castro literature, and the story suggests that the man is Cruz's father, Rafael. Now, I cannot believe I need to say the following, but here goes. There is no corroborated evidence that Ted Cruz's father ever met Lee Harvey Oswald, or for that matter, any other presidential assassin. We in the media don't talk about it because there's no evidence of it. In fact, there is contrary evidence. Well before the picture was taken, Rafael Cruz's sister was brutally beaten by Castro forces, and Rafael Cruz had denounced the regime. So any suggestion that Cruz's father played a role in the Kennedy assassination is ridiculous and, frankly, shameful. Now, that's not an anti-Trump position or a pro-Cruz position. It's a pro-truth position.
We like him. He tells it like it is.
I want to bring up something that happened on the show on Tuesday. Donald Trump apparently contradicting himself when he joined both us and our friends over at ABC by phone.
This is what happened. He talked to ABC first before their show, and they had asked him about that advertisement that showed women quoting things, actual quotes of Mr. Trump. So here's what he said when asked about that ad.
Have you seen that, and what did you make of it?
Well, I have seen it, and it was a Romney deal.
Okay, just a couple of minutes later, he appeared live on this show. Here's what he had to say.
Thing to say.
I have not seen the ad, so I would have to see it. I've heard about the ad, but I have not seen the ad.
Nicole, does this matter? I mean, when a guy contradicts himself within a couple of minutes, do people care?
He says what he means. I honestly believe he's telling the truth.
Anything about Hillary in terms of religion. Now, she's been in the public eye for years and years, and yet there's nothing out there. There's like nothing out there. It's going to be an extension of Obama, but it's going to be worse, because with Obama you had your guard up. With Hillary you don't.
I am a Methodist. I have been raised Methodist. I feel very grateful for the instructions and support I received, starting in my family, but through my church.
We like him. He tells it like it is.
This is Hillary Clinton's agenda, too, to release the violent criminals from jail. She wants them all released.
We like him. He tells it like it is.
He says what he means. I honestly believe he's telling the truth.
They were also misled. A lot of information was given to people, but I was against the war in Iraq from the beginning.
Yeah, but you've used that vote of Hillary's, that was the same as Governor Pence,
many people
as the example of her bad judgment.
Many people have, and frankly, I'm one of the few that was right on Iraq.
Yeah, but what about he?
He's entitled to make a mistake every once in a while.
But she's not. Okay, come on.
I just don't want to tell you that.
Are you for invading Iraq?
Yeah, I guess so. You know, I wish it was. I wish the first time it was done correctly.
He says what he means. I honestly believe he's telling the truth.
You heard the other night, this maniac, Sanders, and then Hillary keeps going, yes, yes, I'll do that too. Yes, yes. They want to raise your taxes to 90%. 90%!
Hillary Clinton is going to raise your taxes very substantially, possibly to 55 or 60%. That is going to be the end. She's going to raise your taxes. And you know what? She has no plan. She doesn't talk about it. She won't talk about it. She's got to raise them to at least 55%.
Hillary Clinton has a plan. It's very simple. Just keep everything the same, except add one new tax bracket for all income earned over $5 million. So whatever one person earns over $5 million, instead of being taxed at 39.6%, it gets taxed at 43.6%.
He says what he means. I honestly believe he's telling the truth.
You tweeted out that whites killed by blacks, these were statistics you picked up from somewhere, at a rate of 81%. And that's totally wrong. Whites killed by blacks is 15%. Yet you tweeted it was 81%. Now,
Bill, I didn't tweet. I retweeted somebody that was supposedly an expert,
but you don't
and it was also a radio show.
Why do you want to be in that zone?
Hey, Bill, am I going to check every statistic? I get millions and millions of people.
You got it. You're a presidential contender. You got to check
millions of people.
He says what he means. I honestly believe he's telling the truth.
Would you just say, unequivocally, you condemn them and you don't want their support?
Well, I have to look at the group. I mean, I don't know what group you're talking about.
I mean, I'm just talking about David Duke and the Ku Klux Klan here, but...
I don't know, honestly, I don't know David Duke. I don't believe I've ever met him. I'm pretty sure I didn't meet him, and I just don't know anything about him.
David Duke just joined. A bigot, a racist, a problem. I mean, this is not exactly the people you want in your party.
At the same time, we've heard this week that David Duke has come out, former leader of the Grand Dragon, wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, come out and said he's supportive of your candidacy. So my first question is, why do people like that, like Donald Trump? And second, how do you feel about the David Duke quasi-endorsement?
I don't know the answer to the first. Who knows why? But I don't need his endorsement. I certainly wouldn't want his endorsement. I don't need anybody's endorsement.
Would you repudiate David Duke?
Sure, I would do that if it made you feel better.
We like him. He tells it like it is.
They just approved a budget which is a disaster, the omnibus. They call it the omnibus budget, right? It is a total disaster. It funds Obamacare. It funds Syrians coming into the United States. We have no idea who they are. It funds illegal immigrants coming in and through your border, right through Phoenix.
What is ironic about Trump's claim is that something that the omnibus does fund is U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Now, those are the very people who are tasked with preventing undocumented immigrants from entering the country.
He says what he means. I honestly believe he's telling the truth.
They wouldn't even be there except for us. You take a look at Kuwait. I mean, we handed Kuwait back to the people that right now essentially own Kuwait, because it's really ownership more than anything else. We handed it back. They never paid us.
like him. He tells it like it is.
If you look at North Korea, South Korea, we're protecting South Korea. They're making a fortune. Let's call it hundreds of billions of dollars of profit on us. We have 25,000 soldiers over there protecting them. They don't pay us. Why are they paying us?
You'd be treating this like a business.
No, no.
We like him. He tells it like it is.
Out of 67 counties, I won 66, which is unprecedented. It's never happened before.
He says what he means. I honestly believe he's telling the truth.
Hey, I watched when the World Trade Center came tumbling down. And I watched in Jersey City, New Jersey, where thousands and thousands of people were cheering as that building was coming down. Thousands of people were cheering. So something's going on. We got to find out what it is. I do want surveillance.
And we did have some celebrating. That is true. We had pockets of celebration. Some in Queens, some in Brooklyn.
How many people?
10, 12, 30, 40. And we did have some reports
Yes.
of people celebrating that day
Yes.
while the towers were coming
But
down.
if there had been thousands
That,
of people,
I would have
you
known
would
that
have
for
known
sure.
about. Yes. So Donald Trump is therefore not telling the truth.
Well, I think what he's doing is exaggerating, right? People were celebrating. He's right about that.
But you're saying a
didn't see-
handful of people.
I didn't see any evidence of thousands, nor have I seen it since then, of thousands of people.
So, you know, but definitively, I've said this a number of times. It didn't happen. You know, but if you'd like me to say it another way, I'm happy to say it another way. It didn't happen. And, you know, the fact is that, you know, people can say anything, but the facts are the facts, and that did not happen in New Jersey that day, and it hasn't happened since.
This didn't happen in New Jersey. There were plenty of reports, and you're feeding a stereotype.
Chuck, it did happen in New Jersey. I have hundreds of people that agree with me.
You're running for president of the United States. Your words matter. Truthfulness matters. Fact-based stuff matters.
Chuck, take it easy, Chuck. Just play cool.
He says what he means. I honestly believe he's telling the truth.
I have been on their cover like 14 or 15 times. I think we have the all-time record in the history of Time magazine.
The audience was the biggest ever, but this crowd was massive. Look how far back it goes. This crowd was massive. I guess it was the biggest electoral college win since Ronald Reagan.
Obamacare covers very few people. The fake media goes, Donald Trump has changed his stance on China. I haven't changed my stance.
Now, the Paris Agreement, they all say it's non-binding. Like hell, it's non-binding.
From the trivial to the important, those are just some of the lies that the New York Times included in its massive new list of every lie Donald Trump has told in the first 154 days of the Trump presidency. The list of Trump lies filled an entire page of the New York Times, yesterday's print edition of the New York Times. It includes only what the Times calls demonstrably false statements. The Times reports that Donald Trump publicly told a lie on 20 of his first 40 days in office, when the Times used what it called a broader standard, one that includes his many misleading statements. It found that he said something untrue every day for the first 40 days of his presidency, and on 74 out of 113 days after that. An example of what the Times called misleading was the president exaggerating military spending in the Middle East.
One of the things people love about you is they believe you tell it like it is.
Says it like it is. He speaks the truth.
It's about time we have a man like Trump in here. They ain't afraid to tell it like it is, man.
We like him. He tells it like it is.
He says what he means. I honestly believe he's telling the truth.
Of Libya? I never discussed that subject. I was in favor of Libya. We would be so much better off if Gaddafi were in charge right now. Because it's not just the political system that's rigged, it's the whole economy. It's rigged by big donors who want to keep wages down. Taxes too high, wages too high. We're not going to be able to compete against the world. I hate to say it, but we have to leave it the way it is. It's rigged by big businesses who want to leave our country, fire our workers, and sell their products back into the United States with absolutely no consequences for them.
As a line of clothing. Now, where were these made?
These were made, I don't know where they were made, but they were made someplace. But they're great. It's ties, shirts, cufflinks, everything sold at Macy's, and they're doing great. #1 selling tie anywhere in the world.
#1 selling tie anywhere in the world. You wouldn't wear that shirt?
We also have them in white and beautiful white.
Where are the shirts made? Bangladesh.
Well, it's good. Okay. We employ people in Bangladesh.
Ties? Where are the ties
they
made?
Have to work
These are beautiful ties.
They are great ties.
The ties are made in where? China? Ties are made in China.
But here, and this is the way it is the bottom line. I started off in Brooklyn, New York, not so long ago, with a small loan. And built a business that today is worth well over $10 billion. If I'm elected president, I will end the special interest monopoly in Washington, D.C. Our country will be better off when we start making our own products again, bringing our once great manufacturing capabilities back to the shores. I mean, we have to bring our manufacturers back to the United States. Desperately needed. Desperately, we need those jobs. And we need it even from our psyche. Hillary Clinton supported Bill Clinton's disastrous and totally disastrous NAFTA. Thanks to Hillary Clinton, Iran is now the dominant Islamic power in the Middle East and on the road to nuclear weapons. Hillary Clinton's support for violent regime change in Syria has thrown the country into one of the bloodiest civil wars anyone has ever seen. ISIS threatens us today because of the decisions Hillary Clinton has made along with President Obama. Though I was not in government service, I was among the earliest to criticize the rush to war. And yes, even before the war ever started.
Are you for invading Iraq?
Yeah, I guess so. You know, I wish the first time it was done correctly.
She simply lacks the integrity and temperament to serve in the office. From the bottom of my soul, I know this to be true. Under her plan, we would admit hundreds of thousands of refugees from the most dangerous countries on earth with no way to screen who they are, what they believe, where they come from. The father of the Orlando shooter was a Taliban supporter from Afghanistan, one of the most repressive anti-gay and anti-woman regimes on earth. She's pledged to grant mass amnesty and in her first 100 days end virtually all immigration enforcement and thus create totally open borders for the United States. Totally open borders.
Hillary also wants to spend hundreds of billions of dollars to settle Middle Eastern refugees in the United States, on top of the current record level of immigration that we already have. For the amount of money Hillary Clinton would like to spend on refugees, we could rebuild every inner city in America. We'll lift restrictions on energy production. We will repeal and replace job-killing Obamacare. It is a total disaster. And we are, by the way, the highest taxed nation in the world. Please remember that. Hillary Clinton's message is old and tired. Americans are the people that tamed the West. That dug out the Panama Canal. That sent satellites across the solar system. Americans, the people that we love, Americans, America first. We are going to make America rich again.
One of the things people love about you is they believe you tell it like it is.
Says it like it is.
Of Libya? I never discussed that subject. I was in favor of Libya. We would be so much better off if Gaddafi were in charge right now.
He speaks the truth.
We like him. He tells it like it is.
When the World Trade Center came tumbling down, and I watched in Jersey City, New Jersey, where thousands and thousands of people were cheering.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists. Putin wants to go in, and I got to know him very well because we were both on 60 Minutes. We were stablemates.
Mexico doesn't want people. They're forcing them into our country. I predicted Osama bin Laden. Look what Trump predicted Osama bin Laden.
Whites killed by blacks is 15%, yet you tweeted it was 81%.
All it was is a retweet. It wasn't from me.
This plan, it'll simplify the tax code. It'll grow the American economy at a level that it hasn't seen for decades.
Greetings. This is the Get To Free Press, and we report what others ignore. This is your First Amendment right to know without whiteouts from a controlled news media whiteout network. And we are located in Valdosta, Georgia, and we are here to inform, educate, and persuade if necessary. Always keep that in mind. Moreover, I want to say to you that as a community, state, nation, and world, We are not who we claim to be, but who we prove ourselves to be over a given period of time. And if we are a liar, time will tell. And if we are a racist or a hater, time will tell. And our righteous and holy God already know. So you are only fooling yourselves. Again, the Ghetto Free Press. I'm George Foster Rice.